welcome to a commitment edition of Press Coverage. I'm Garrick Hodge alongside Chase Brown, joining us on a Sunday here, and it's a pretty nice Sunday for Ohio State in that they only had three official visitors, but they've already landed one of them, and they've landed their first running back commitment of the 2026 cycle in Favour Akih. And Chase, I know you've had a lot of guys, a lot of friends in the Delaware area. Grew up pretty close to Columbus, grew up rooting for the Buckeyes, so dream come true day for him. He's in the class. He's a top 160 running back prospect in the entire, I guess I should say overall prospect, not just running back. He's in the top 15 there. But what's your impressions of landing Favour Akih in this class?
Yeah, it seems like a great addition for Ohio State. As you mentioned, I'm someone that grew up in this area, so I can attest that growing up so close to Ohio State's campus, I mean, it makes the desire to go there that much greater. And so I think that Ohio State, as you mentioned, Garrick, finding favor with Favour Akih in this commitment, I think is something that both parties can be excited about. He's somebody that we have followed making visits to Ohio State's campus countless weekends in the spring and then
Four
making
times.
making his official visit now and making his commitment. So it's been clear that he wanted to be a Buckeye. That's been reciprocated now by Ohio State throughout the past couple of months. And so I think that it's an exciting time for both parties, and it should be an exciting time that kicks off a weekend, or I guess this season of official visits and hopefully far more commitments for Ohio State down the road.
I think this commitment has been kind of unofficially done for I'd say about a month or so. From what I understand, Favor was toying with the idea of committing in May and decided to push it back a little bit just to do his due diligence. Had to explore Miami, had to explore USC and see those play out. But once he, got his offer from Ohio State in March on his first spring visit, and then he came back three more times. I mean, it was really trending Ohio State's way, and I think everyone got the indication that there was no other result, but he was going to end up being a Buckeye in the scarlet and gray. Um, it's kind of interesting how everything played out because the recruitment between him and Carlos Lachlan really picked up during the fall when he kind of had his breakout junior year. Ran for more than 1,600 yards and 15 touchdowns, added nine receptions, 142 yards, and three receiving touchdowns. So really kind of broke out onto the scene and became like a top 250 guy, and then slowly kept climbing that recruiting ladder. And Carlos Lachlan kept evaluating him, kept staying in contact with him, and the more they learned about his personality, the more they saw his film, the more they liked him. And he may end up being the lone running back in this class, but they would like to have one other. The two guys that really come to mind are Savion Hyder and Derek Cooper. Um, both of those are very high profile 5-star guys, and it won't be easy for Ohio State to land them, but they're definitely going to go down swinging. And Chase, what now that Favors in this class, what do you make of the overall running back situation for the 2026 cycle?
Yeah, I know that we've talked about this on 11warriors.com with a lot of our articles, then assessing the current Ohio State running back room, where you have James Peoples, who's hoping to emerge as a front runner, or hoping to emerge as the starter for their running back room. Then you have a guy like CJ Donaldson, who Ohio State added from West Virginia in the transfer portal. And then there's an exciting young group of guys. You have Sam Williams Dixon, who came in with James Peoples, explored the transfer portal in the winter, but decided to come back. He's hoping to become Ohio State's kind of spare, the pair and the spare analogy there. But then there's a really exciting group of three freshmen that came in this past class in the 2025 cycle. I know that Garrick, we had talked about a couple of times last summer. Would they just settle with two guys? Would they try and pursue a third? Because they have Bo Jackson already committed at that point in the summer. They had Isaiah West, who was coming in. But then they add, Turbo Rogers on National Signing Day, or the early signing period. And so they have a three-headed monster there a little bit with that class, where it can maybe negate some of the desire to, or I guess maybe it can negate some of the negative impacts of maybe only bringing in one guy in the 2026 class, just because you have so much depth in that room building. And like CJ Donaldson or Quinshon Judkins of this past season, Ohio State can go out into the transfer portal and land somebody if it is necessary. So I don't think that getting one guy would necessarily hurt Ohio State, but if you can get somebody of the talent of a Savion Hyder or Derek Cooper, you absolutely go and get one of those guys. We'll just create an interesting kind of path here moving forward? Does Ohio State go all out to land one of those guys, or do they maybe, I don't know, you think about, do they use this NIL money for a different purpose? Do they end up pursuing somebody at a different position knowing that they have Favour already established in the class? Could they use that money on a left tackle or a right tackle, on a wide receiver, on a tight end, knowing that they have the depth already established in that room? So those will be conversations that Ohio State has to have moving forward. I'm glad that I'm not the one that has to make those decisions, though, as I'm sure you are too.
Well, if it is just indeed Favour as their lone running back, I think he's going to bring a lot to Ohio State. He's a strong runner with a nice blended mix of speed, power, and shiftiness. And I think he really has a tremendous ability to change directions on a whim. Watching his film, he forced plenty of missed tackles last season, and it led to a bevy of long runs. This is a guy that makes his living both outside and running in between the tackles. He was overwhelming his defenders at his competition level, and on one run, I saw him break up to 6 tackles. From what I've seen, he's a willing blocker and can make some plays in the passing game as a wide receiver. I don't know if he's necessarily going to be the guy to come in and take a large share of carries right away in his freshman year. Maybe he could work into a timeshare as the backfield situation's kind of up in the air with, James Peoples hopefully taking the lion's share of the carries, but we'll see about CJ Donaldson coming in and stealing that, and we'll also see what Bo Jackson looks like. But I think this is a guy that, best case scenario, ends up having pretty meaningful slaps by at least year 2 in Columbus.
I would agree. And his size is something that stands out to me as well. At 6 foot, 190 pounds. Bo Jackson comes in at 6 foot. He's 210 pounds. But that is after a spring being at Ohio State in a weight and conditioning program with Coach Mick. So does Favour come in, and is he able to add some LBs, add to some of that frame? And as you're saying, a guy that can live between the tackles. Is he somebody that can cause defenders to miss? Is he somebody that can really shove people off of them? As Carlos Lachlan, as we know, Garrick, is not somebody that's interested in any soft batch cookies.
Doesn't
So
want
he's
any of them in his room. If they're soft, that he thinks that reflects poorly on him.
That's exactly right. So if the weight and conditioning program can work as well for Favour as it has for some of those younger guys coming into the program now in year 1, I think I would agree that he's not somebody necessarily that I would envision coming in and taking snaps right away, but throughout his career, absolutely. And it's a good thing too, as we move into an era of college football. I guess we're already there, but as it continues to evolve, where guys are more interested in hitting the transfer portal after a year of maybe not seeing the snaps that they wanted, maybe 2 years of the snaps that they wanted. It is good that you have a guy who has been so close to Ohio State and who knows what it really means to be a Buckeye and to represent the Buckeyes. I know some people may have seen Favour's commitment video on Twitter, on X, on social media. It was really well done. It paid homage to some of the guys that he probably spent the past year wanting to be, in Travion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins, and kind of carving his own path for the future of being a Buckeye. So I do think that, at least on the surface, it seems like he's somebody that's interested in really waiting and earning his spot at Ohio State. So I don't necessarily foresee him being one of those guys that's going to go run for the hills when things get hard. And in a room with so much depth, he'll be working hard to get his own snaps.
Big week coming up here at 11 Warriors. We got 4 recruiting camps this week, Monday through Thursday. I guess one of them is a 7-on-7 tournament. So 3 recruiting camps and 1 7-on-7 tournament. We're going to have coverage from all 4 of those days. And then, of course, we got another official visit weekend. We've knocked down 2, got 2 more to go. And then once those next 2 are wrapped up, you're probably going to see recruits shift into decision mode pretty quickly here. And you're going to learn on whether Ohio State did enough to convert on some targets or not. So it's going to be a pretty exciting time here at 11warriors.com. We're going to bring you all of it. We're going to react to all of it. We'll have a couple camp reports. We're shifting to video this week and going to film some of those. So it's pretty exciting, and can't wait to bring it to you on 11 Warriors. And we'll, as always, stay subscribed to the channel, view the site when you have time, and we'll catch you next time.